Have you ever been performing cable exercises and thinking, man, my attachments are just not girthy enough? No? Well, maybe now you will, because today we're looking at fat bar attachments. That was so dumb, I'm sorry. Fat bar cable attachments are definitely not something that I had on my 2024 bingo card, but back in March when I went to the Arnold, I took these for a test run at the Bells of Steel booth, and I was surprised at how much I liked them, and now they've finally been released, so I'm gonna break them down for you here. Now, Bells of Steel was nice enough to send me these attachments. They want an honest review, and I'm gonna be nothing if not honest. It won't help you guys if I just say that these are the best things in the world and that you need to buy them. And frankly, before I break them down, this is not something you need. Nobody needs a fat bar attachment for their cables. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So here is what we have to talk about. We have the Lat Pulldown Bar, a straight bar, a single handle, a T-bar for T-bar rows, and and an easy curl bar. There is also a tricep bar that I do not have, but just know it exists. So first things first, what's the point of these? The idea of a fat grip is that it's harder to hold. It makes your hands and your forearms work a lot harder to maintain the grip. So it builds your forearms and it helps build your grip strength more than a regular bar or a regular attachment would. And obviously that translates to other exercises like deadlifts where grip strength is very important. So that is why you would train and do accessory work with something like this. Personally, my favorite way to use these rather than just go an hour of using fat grips is using it for supersetting. If you do something with a fat grip, once you move to a regular bar, the grip you have on it, the strength feels so much more than if you just go into a regular exercise without doing those first. And I love that feeling. So I'll do something like heavy rows with a fat grip and then go on to do a set of deadlifts. And you feel like you can just rip that bar in half. So I really like the grips for that purpose rather than just going an hour or an hour and a half just with using fat grips for the sake of using them. And you may notice I use fat bar and fat grips interchangeably because this is not a new concept. There is a product out there called Fat Gripz. They've been around for a while and they serve the exact same purpose. Fat grips are rubber handles that you can put over any bar. I had those in my gym bag for probably 10 years and I maybe used them 10 times. When you're gripping just a rubber handle, it feels way different. It'll work for what it needs to be, which is a forearm and grip enhancer, but I didn't love using it in my workout. So it's a fun product, but something like this, it's obviously an upgrade on that because it's built in and there is knurling on the grip itself versus putting rubber over the handle. But that being said, fat grips are significantly cheaper. A pair of those is around 30 bucks. So if you wanna just dip your toe into the whole fat bar thing without committing to bars, get some fat grips. And now this seems like as good a time as any to talk about the price of these. The Lat Pulldown is $90. Bells of Steel sells a regular Lat Pulldown bar for $60. And then you've got the Easy Curl bar that's $90 when their regular one is $50. So a bit of a big jump. So you do have to justify nearly 2 times the price. These are obviously very heavy duty and they honestly have really impressive knurling on each one, which I really like. It's great for grip. I don't think you're gonna go out there and buy every single attachment. So let me go through each one so you can choose the one that's right for you, if any. First up, we'll talk about the Lat Pulldown Bar. This thing is a monster. It is built like a tank. The knurling is top notch, especially because most Lat Pulldown bars you have, like I have this cheap one that's got just like the little plastic ends to it. There's no grip whatsoever. Obviously there's an in-between when you go from the cheapest of cheap to this. God, look at that difference. End to end, this one is 52 inches. The other Lat Pulldown bar I have is 47 inches. And those extra 4 inches when you're doing lat pulldowns can make a big difference, especially if you're somebody who has a large wingspan. The downside to this one is that it's so damn heavy. So if you take the pin out when you're changing the weight, be prepared to hold this over your head because if you don't, you're gonna get a concussion. It's just that simple. Next up, I'm gonna talk about the straight bar and the single handle together because honestly, there's not much to say about them. You know exactly what both of these things are. There's not much to it. I love the way the handle is designed with the lasered in Bells of Steel logo. And this thing is built really strong. It rotates, which is nice for a handle. And I think the best use case for this is for doing any kind of pulling. If you're doing a single arm row, I don't think anything like this is useful for like chest flies or any lateral raises, anything like that where you really don't need your grip strength to be improved too much. I find any kind of pulling or any biceps when your forearms are already getting worked, I think is the best use case for something like this. So I do see the use for that. Because I'm doing so many other things with a single handle, I don't know how often I would actually use a fat grip for that. And then the straight bar, I don't know. It's designed well. It does what you expect it to do. It rotates at the center connector. I've had a straight bar for as long as I've had a home gym, and I've never used this thing once. I don't understand the use case for a straight bar. I find that anything you would do a straight bar with, other bars and attachments have a better purpose. Curls, I would use a curl bar. Face pulls, I like doing a rope. There just seems to be a better attachment than a straight bar for pretty much everything. So if you like straight bars, sure, maybe like, again, if you're doing back exercises, like if you're rowing, yes, but I mean, we'll get into the T-bar and I mean, even I'd rather probably just use a handle and do single arm rows. So I don't know. If you use a straight bar, here it is. I got nothing else to say about it. The straight bar and the handle are both things that I don't know how much use I actually have for them. And now we got the T-bar row. Now this one, you can see there is, there's a hole down the center because this one is a twofer and this works as a landmine attachment. So you slide this right over your barbell and you could do T-bar rows with the landmine attachment. I don't have a landmine in my home gym because my lever arms kind of replace all of those. But if you do landmine work, the fact that this does both is awesome. Anytime you can get a 2-for-1 with any gym equipment, if you could do more things than just one, it makes the best use of your space and your money. So major points on that one. I don't really understand why the handles themselves are hollow. It kind of makes it feel cheap, but then again, I guess it would really serve no additional purpose if they were solid other than it would be heavier. It just kind of feels off-putting to me. Being able to do landmine T-bar rows with this is great. And because this is pretty much exclusively used for back exercises, you're gonna be doing either seated cable rows or lat pull downs with these. I am a huge fan of this one. I love the way it feels. The width is perfect to me. I use my T-bar all the time. And something like this, going from a fat bar to then going into another pull, like a deadlift, or if you wanted to do heavy bent over rows, something like that, doing a set first with this and then moving on to that feels really, really good. And now the last one we have is the easy curl bar. Now, if you are somebody who likes perfectly clean welds, shield your eyes because this one has some gnarly welding. It kind of looks like they just glued everything together and then painted it. It doesn't feel that way, but it looks that way. It is pretty gnarly. All the other ones look really clean and smooth. This one is not pretty. It feels fine. I don't worry for my safety. It's very heavy and very strong, so I know that it's well made. It's just ugly. But like the T-bar row that doubles as a landmine attachment, this doubles as a plate-loaded curl bar, so you can put your Olympic plates right on the ends here. And that is a huge plus for me. I don't have any kind of a curl bar in my gym. I do have an easy curl bar, just a regular cable attachment, but I have nothing that's plate-loaded. And I mean, you'll hear me say it a million times. I love to superset. I love bouncing around to different exercises. So being able to load this up and use this as a plate-loaded bar is a huge benefit to me. Just keep in mind that if you are gonna load it, this is not wide enough to be rackable. So it gets a little awkward. You gotta put this on the ground and load the plates onto each side. Luckily, you're not loading giant 45-pound plates onto this. I mean, maybe you are, depending on who you are, but you're typically using smaller plates and not a ton of weight. There's not a long sleeve anyway, so you're not adding a ton of weight here. But in general, easy curl bars, I think have so many different uses, and I use mine all the time for any bicep or tricep exercise. Obviously, that's what it's made for, curls or skull crushers. It's just such a more comfortable grip than a straight bar because you have so many different options on where to grab. And then again, going from a superset or a compound set or a drop set, whatever it is, you can switch up your grip. You can go wide on it and then go in close for the next set. So I'm a huge fan of these bars. Bells of Steel has a plate loaded curl bar for 120 bucks. This attachment's 80 bucks and it doubles as a cable attachment. So the fact that you're getting 2-in-1, a cable attachment and a plate loaded curl bar for cheaper than just their regular curl bar, to me, that one feels like a no-brainer. If you're in the market for some kind of a curl bar, I see no reason why you wouldn't want to buy this one. It can stand alone as its own curl bar and you don't need to have one of each. Other things like the lat pull down, I think you should have a regular lat pull down bar as well because you're not always going to want to use a fat grip. But for arm exercises, I can see only owning this one and being very happy. So overall, what do I think? I think these are really fun, but they're obviously not necessary. If you're penny pinching and you don't want to spend a lot of money, buy fat grips. They're 30 bucks and you could put them on any bar. That's obviously a much cheaper solution. But if you do have some extra money to spend and you have the space for some extra attachments, I actually really like these and I think I'm going to use them a lot. Now, the straight bar I'm never going to use, and the handle I don't really have much use for, I don't think. But if you're gonna buy one, the lat pull down bar is my tops. I really, really like that one. I just think it feels so good. The curl bar is awesome because it doubles as a plate loaded curl bar. And as someone who doesn't currently have one of those, getting 2-in-1 and for 80 bucks feels like just such a good deal that I think that one would be totally worth it. And then if you're someone who does landmine work, this grip is definitely worth it, the T-bar row. I don't do landmine work, so I don't know if I would be buying this one on its own. I do like the way it feels, but because it's built to be a landmine attachment as well, and I'm not doing that stuff in my gym, probably not the best use for me. But the lat pull down bar and the easy curl bar, yeah, I really, really like those. If you've tried fat grips before, what do you think of them? Do you actually use them, or are they just another commodity that gets lost in your gym bag? If you've used fat grips and you like them, I could see you loving these, but I could also see you thinking there would be no real use for them because you already have fat grips. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. And as always, if you have questions for me, send them my way. I will always do what I can to help because us home gymmers, we gotta stick together. God, these things are so heavy. Make sure your kids are not near you. Make sure mirrors are not near you because one swing of this and yikes.